Hi, thank you, Claire, and thank you to USTMA. I'm so pleased to be here this weekend and feel very privileged to have been asked, so I want to give a big thank you for that. So, TTPNetwork. It was established in 1998 after a patient had their second episode of TTP and felt completely isolated. They weren't academic, and at that time, this was before internet, and the library certainly didn't have any information for a layperson about TTP. In fact, most doctors that they came in contact with hadn't heard of TTP either. And so they sent a letter to a women's magazine that we have in England called Woman, and received 15 replies, and probably 8 of those were for a completely different condition that sounds like TTP but is very different to TTP. After those letters were received, TTPNetwork was born, and that woman, who at that time was 24, was me. But TTP very quickly became much more than me. It became us. And TTPNetwork is what it says on the tin. It is a network of patients and families, and in some cases, close friends, who want to escape the isolation. They want to inform themselves and be better informed about the condition they or their loved one has been diagnosed with. So what do we do? Well, we provide advocacy, information and support for patients in their family, primarily in the UK. But actually, although those advocacy and some of our services are limited to the UK, there's a whole host of other things that we do that are available worldwide, and certainly to you here in the US and those of you that have come from Canada. So I welcome you to our network. And being a member is simply interacting with us. At this time, you don't have to sign up or fill in any forms. You literally interact with us and you are part of our community. We've got a worldwide audience on our Facebook group. Can I have a show of hands for those of you who are on our Facebook group? That's brilliant. Excellent, welcome. And that's been actually a really exciting part of my coming here this weekend, is the ability to put faces to those names and those little icons on Facebook. So thank you for those of you who've come up and introduced yourself to me. That's been a real privilege as well. We've also got a really comprehensive website, and I'm going to talk through that in a moment. So we provide space for patients and families to speak to one another and share their experiences. We have a buddy scheme, which is UK only, but that provides one-to-one buddy support for patients. But if that's something that's of interest, I'm happy to talk to you if you would like to set up something similar in your area. We also encourage patients to meet up on clinic dates. So often you'll see on our Facebook page, if someone's got a clinic appointment, they'll say, I'm headed to the hospital today, come and say hi, I'm wearing this. We held a conference last year, and since the beginning of time, we've assisted UCL and Professor Scully. Why was I going to call you Professor Machin? It was about 30 years ago. In organising their patient day as well. It's been a real collaboration over the years. And we hold regular webinars that are also available to anybody to come and join those. And I appreciate the time difference. It doesn't always make that easy, but I've made a real concerted effort to record each webinar, and they are now hosted on our YouTube channel, and we link the YouTube channel from our website as well. So you're welcome to view those. We also liaise with international patient groups to share information across the globe. Obviously, we've been speaking with Claire at USTMA. We've got a really good relationship with Max in Italy. I speak with counterparts in France, and I've spoken to people in Spain, or other places. I can't even think. As a patient, I will just say I also struggle with sometimes memory and word finding, so I apologise for that throughout this little presentation. We've represented views at the European Organisation for Rare Diseases, NHS England, which is our overarching kind of healthcare system, and our licensing board, which is called NICE. and we speak with pharma companies about the new and innovative therapies. We use our website, as I've mentioned, we use Facebook, and we also do have a Twitter feed. So one thing I'm particularly proud of in the work that we do at TTP Network is the partnership we've made with the specialist centres and how we've been part of bringing them into being. Prof. Scully mentioned yesterday that it took a very long time to get these specialist centres up and running. And I think from memory, it was about 7 years that I was involved. But actually, I know there was a lot of work that went on before that as well. So they were established by a team of haematologists and TTP Network as the patient voice. And we helped develop the specifications, so the protocol for the specialist centres. And we also then had a voice in the commissioning process. And the result is 9 specialist treatment centres across 11 sites in England. And the purpose of the centres is that no patient is more than 1 hour on a blue light, roughly. It doesn't quite work in some of our more rural areas. And that they will begin treatment within 4 hours. So that's the principle. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marie. That's pretty much it. But one of the most exciting things, and where I think that patients are really benefiting, particularly when they're out of that crisis situation and they're on the more sort of maintenance path, is that each centre has specialist clinical nurses who are absolute specialists in TTP, congenital and idiopathic, a team of psychologists. So every site has a psychologist, and most sites it works as a drop-in. So you go and see your consultant or your specialist nurse at your clinic appointment, and if you feel you want to see the psychologist, you can normally just drop in and spend some time with them. And if they need to see you on a more regular basis, they'll work that out with you. You obviously have your consultants there. Some centres have got a social worker, so they can help with those sort of socioeconomic issues, maybe if a patient has not been able to work or is needing some support with accessing benefits. And the centres are so specialised that, I mean, we have across the NHS and patient-centred care, but I've never seen it more prominent than in these specialist centres. It really is patient-centred care. And the really important thing about the specialist centres is that those haematologists, those consultants also meet regularly to share their best practice, to learn from near misses and from poor outcomes. And so it really is making sure that the standard of care is uplifted and remains high. Also, it provides patients with some confidence when they travel across the UK. And we had an example recently where a patient from the south was travelling north on business. And by the time they were on their route north, about 4 hours in travel, which to you guys probably seems like a walk in the park, but that's quite a long journey for us in England. And they had a call from their haematologist in the south to say that their Adam's 13 was very low and they needed to, and their platelets were very low actually, and they needed to start some treatment. So the quick call was made to one of the northern centres, a diversion on her route, and then she was on treatment within hours. And that was just amazing and such a good outcome for her. I think listening yesterday to Sparrow, there's a possibility for there to be something similar in due course in the US, and I'd like to see that happen, and I'd be happy to be part of making that happen. So what do patients say about us? This is just us blowing our own trumpet, really. This is some things that we go out every year with a patient survey just to see what we can do better, what we're doing well, and these are some of the things that people said. So I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment. Okay, and now I want to talk about the website. So this is what the website looks like if you haven't visited it. This is a page that you could benefit from. It's not solely for UK patients at all. This is our travel page. All of these little flags that you can see, they are all translations of a letter that you will see in English with the Union flag there. And the letter basically says, my name is Joe, I have a diagnosis of TTP, do not give me platelets, contact my consultant urgently, and their name is, and there's a space for you to write in your consultant's name and the telephone number. And that's translated in all to these other languages. And even last week, a patient came to me, in fact, it was a relative of a patient, to say, could they have a language that wasn't listed on the site? So we're in the process of now getting that translated through a language company. So if you are traveling and you can't see the language of the country you're visiting, do drop us a line. It might be that we can get that worked up for you. Don't do it the day before. It does take give us a bit of a lead. There's also a useful information page, and this has got lots of different segments. So there's information on going home after TTP. There's frequently asked questions. So can I drink quinine? Can I drink tonic water? All that kind of stuff. We've got a page with all our downloadable leaflets. Now, I saw many of you taking our leaflets away over this weekend, but if you want more copies or you'd like a PDF version, you can download them from there. We've got a page of patient stories. We advertise opportunities to take part in research, and we've got information about our UK registry. Some of the other useful areas that I think you could benefit from, we've got a repository of research articles, which you can see on the top left there. So when I hear or am made aware of new pieces of research, Prof. Scully sends me things, Claire sends me things. I'm also listed on some mailing lists for some of the journals. I will upload a link. So for those of you, and I know there are many of you who like to educate yourself and really understand what's going on, have a look at that page. There's also the page that links to our webinars and our YouTube channel. There's a page on grief and loss for families. And the travel page that I should have mentioned before when I talked about the translations, there's also a link in there to another travel website, which is called Your Health and Travel. And that's been produced by one of our brilliant trustees and volunteers, a lady called Seda. And she's developed a whole website about giving you confidence to travel when you've got a long-term condition. So do take a look at that, because the information is transferable across the world. What else can I tell you about the other areas, other organisations, and the psychology service is probably more relevant to those in the UK. So without further ado, that's how you contact us, info@TTPNetwork. That's our website, and that's our Facebook group and our X, formerly known as Twitter channel. Do interact with us, do get in contact. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you once again, Claire, for inviting me. Thank you.